So there's a lot of people suffering at different points in this movie. I just talked about the chief. He's, he suffered the loss of his best friend.
Right.
Moana is suffering sort of the restraint of not being able to get out and explore who she is. Te-fiti suffers the loss of her heart.
Yes.
And Maui suffers the loss of his hook and his identity. And we even know that he suffers his separation from his parents when he's a kid. So there's a picture in this movie of what suffering does to us and how we respond to it. How do you kind of see suffering and responses within the movie, within life?
The one thing that shot to me was the villagers suffering.
Yeah.
The villagers suffering, no one sees that, but they see the dad, Moana, and te-fiti, but not realizing the people, and it can apply it to what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
We don't know we don't see all that's going on, but in the meantime, the entire body is suffering somehow. So I relate it to that a lot, especially growing up in the islands. So much going on in the government, so much going on that we don't see, but we see it with the people. And there's hardly any food there, and people are just trying to do whatever they can to make money to take care of their children. And there's a lot of third world country poor spots in the islands of Samoa.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to the villagers. I don't know why that stuck out for me, but the villagers are the one that suffered. And of course, I see Moana. When we go back to Moana, I relate to her as well, because the suffering that she's going through, there's been a calling in her heart, and she can't let go of it. It's been put there for a reason.
Yeah.
So she can't help but gravitate towards it. So she's suffering slowly inside, but she gets redeemed at the end.
Yeah.
Not just herself, but also te-fiti. But yeah, the suffering that she had gone through was really, it impacts, we all relate to it as far as Pacific Islanders, especially with our parents telling us what to do. But yet inside our hearts, and it comes to what they said, honor your mother and father.
Yeah.
But at what point?
Yeah.
Right.
But we still have to respect and love them, still do it in a kind and loving way.
Yeah. The thing I always ask about when I ask about suffering, or the topic of suffering, is in what are we placing our hope? And I think it's important because suffering is this thing in our lives that feels very brutal and very unnatural.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yes.
we don't feel like we were made to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? We don't really feel that way. We definitely do suffer.
Yes.
All of us suffer in some way, shape, or form. But it doesn't seem like it's our intended state of being.
No.
It doesn't feel that way. And I know that, like, for me, suffering then starts to feel really meaningless or devastating, right? And I think that means it's also easy to start to feel despair or a lack of hope. So my mom died of cancer in 2012. If you listen to this podcast, you know that. Because we talk about it. It's because of what it's done to affect me. If she placed her hope in being made well on earth, then it's a misplaced hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're suffering, if your only hope is for that suffering to be alleviated, what if that's not a possibility?
Yeah.
Then it does feel like you would only find despair. So then the question for me then is like, well, how do you find something beyond yourself? How do you find something beyond your family? How do you find something beyond your circumstances wherein we can place our hope? It's just like another analogy is like a soldier, right? That's going to walk into battle.
Yes.
If you're completely focused on your own self-protection, you are not an effective soldier.
No.
You're looking to the bigger picture. You're looking to, I'm not only going to going into this battle for my fellow countrymen, I'm doing this for people back home.
Exactly.
Or if it's your home that's being attacked, you're doing it for your home.
The greater good.
You're doing it for the greater good. So I think when we do experience suffering, and I think we see this in the film, we need to focus on our values and on something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? And I think that she does that because she does feel fear. It's not a problem to feel fear. It's about what we do with fear that matters. And Moana maintains her values. She sees something beyond herself.
Yes.
Right? Because she even puts aside some of her own fear when she first tries to go out and the waves kind of get to her. She's like, no, I have to keep going for this.
Yeah.
And it's because she sees what Te Ka is doing
Affecting her.
Exactly, affecting the whole island.
Yeah.
And so what she sees is, I'm doing this for something bigger than myself.
Yes.
And if she didn't see it that way, then I don't think that she can endure the suffering. She has to see something bigger, or else. And I don't even think like her father doesn't quite see that, because he just thinks self-protection.
My daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just think that is a cool thing that the movie teaches us through some of that, because her grandmother is there to constantly remind her of what her values.
The village
are.
Crazy Lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have a village crazy lady?
Oh yeah, we have. Oh my gosh, every family. I'm sure.
Every family has that. Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah. For me, a lot of it is about the response to suffering, because you see a lot of different pictures of that in this movie.
Yes.
And her triumph is sort of her response to her suffering.
Yep.
But Maui's failure, or what's holding him back, is his response to suffering.
Yes.
You know, his just kind of self-wallowing. I'm nothing without my hook.
Yes.
You know.
Right.